Some folks look at the Outback and Forester like they're basically the same Subaru with different vibes, but nah, choosing the wrong one in 2026 can cost you real money long term. Reliability and resale are where these two split in ways most people don't catch until they're already locked into a payment. Hey guys, it's Scott from CarLandTV, and today we're digging into the 2026 Outback and Forester to figure out which one's actually the smarter buy before you hand a dealership your hard-earned cash. But first, do me a quick favor. Tap that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. It ain't required, but those clicks keep this thing rolling and make it easier for me to keep dropping solid car content straight to your screen. Now let's get back into it. What Subaru changed for 2026? Before we even get into reliability charts and resale numbers, I need to lay out what actually changed for 2026, because that's the foundation for everything. The Outback basically graduated into a proper midsize SUV for this new generation, with a more upright, SUV-style body, bolder front end, and more usable cargo space than the old wagon profile. Subaru kept the 2.5-liter Boxer and the 2.4 Turbo, but both ran through the latest version of the Lineartronic CVT and standard symmetrical all-wheel drive, with eyesight updated again and the cabin tech stepped up with bigger screens and cleaner ergonomics. On top of that, Subaru bumped pricing pretty hard for 2026 to line it up with more feature content and the new platform, which matters when we talk total cost later. The Forester's story is different. It moved to the latest Subaru global platform with a stiffer body, better noise isolation, and a redesigned interior. But it stays in that compact footprint with big glass and easy visibility. Power is a 2.5-liter flat 4 with about 180 horsepower through a CVT and full-time all-wheel drive, and for 2026, you've also got the hybrid setup that pairs that engine with electric assist to land mid-30 seconds combined MPG and a bump in total output. Tech-wise, you're looking at the available 11.6-inch touchscreen, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, upgraded eyesight, and options like Surround View and the Wilderness package with extra ground clearance. So, when I say these two share the same Subaru DNA, I'm talking about engines, CVT philosophy, and all-wheel drive. But the Outback leans into bigger SUV duty, and the Forester leans into lighter, more efficient, hybrid-friendly daily use. That split is exactly why reliability and resale are not going to play out the same way. Real-world reliability data. When I started digging into the reliability side of these two, I kept seeing the same pattern show up in the data. Subaru, as a brand, usually lands above average with consumer reports, and both the Outback and Forester have been some of the most consistent models in their rankings. The non-turbo 2.5-liter Boxer is the main reason for that. It's been in the lineup for years, and the recent versions have far fewer complaints about oil consumption compared to the early 2010 seconds engines. The newer blocks, updated piston rings, and revised PCV system fixed most of that mess, so I don't worry about the 2026 models repeating those issues. The CVT conversation matters a lot here. Subaru's Lineartronic CVT has a better track record than Nissan's or Jeep's belt-driven units, especially after 2017 when they switched to stronger chains, revised valve bodies, and updated the fluid cooling strategy. The Outback tends to get the higher capacity CVT because of its size and towing expectations, while the Forester's is lighter duty but still proven across multiple generations. Looking at long-term owner reports and warranty data, the biggest factor in CVT life is fluid maintenance. Subaru calls most of them lifetime, but independent shops recommend around 60,000 miles if you plan on keeping the car past 130,000. That advice lines up with what I've seen on cars that hit high mileage without issues. The turbo engine in the Outback is where things split. Turbo Subarus have always been a little more sensitive to heat and maintenance, and even though the current 2.4 is way better than the old EJ motors, it still has more moving parts, more stress, and a higher chance of carbon buildup if someone ignores oil changes. The Forester doesn't deal with that because it stays naturally aspirated or uses a mild hybrid setup, which generally leads to cleaner long-term reliability. When you look at the past 5 years of dependability scores and owner complaints, the Forester consistently edges out the Outback on fewer mechanical problems per year, especially once the odometer climbs. Maintenance costs and ownership ease. Ownership costs are where a lot of people get surprised. So let's put real numbers on the table. RepairPal puts the Outback's average yearly repair bill at about $607 and the Forester at around $632, with Subaru as a brand averaging $617 a year. Both get a 3.5 out of 5 reliability score and sit in the average cost, above average reliability lane, with roughly a 12 to 13% chance of a repair being major. So from a pure repair standpoint, neither one is some wallet-destroying diva, no cap. Fuel is where the gap starts to show. The 2026 Outback with a 2.5-liter is rated around 25 miles per gallon in the city and 31 miles per gallon on the highway. Step up to the 2.4 turbo, and you are closer to 21 inches the city and 29 highway. The current Forester with the 2.5 sits at about 26 miles per gallon in the city, 33 miles per gallon on the highway, roughly 29 combined, and the redesigned Forester Hybrid that Subaru's rolling out is targeting about 35 miles per gallon combined. If you're doing 15,000 miles a year at, say, $3.50 a gallon, that 3 to 6 mpg advantage works out to hundreds of dollars every single year. Over a 7-year run, the Forester, especially the Hybrid, can easily save you a couple of grand in fuel alone. That is real money, not internet fantasy. Then you get into the little things that stack up. Outbacks usually ride on wider, larger wheels and carry more weight, so a set of quality tires and pads will typically run higher than a Forester's. Insurance quotes in a lot of zip codes lean slightly cheaper for the Forester because it is a smaller, lower-priced compact SUV. CVT fluid is labeled Lifetime by Subaru, but every good Subaru shop I talk to likes a 60,000-mile service interval if you plan to keep the car past 100,000. That rule applies to both, but the Forester's better MPG, slightly cheaper rubber, and generally lower running costs make it the easier long-term budget pick if you are just trying to keep your monthly spend under control. Resale value and depreciation. On the money side, resale is where Subaru quietly does work, no cap. KBB's been handing out best resale value awards for years, and the Forester has been the champ in the compact SUV class, with the Outback also showing up on their SUV resale lists alongside it. That lines up with what dealers and used car data keep saying. Subarus just do not tank in value the way a lot of crossovers do, mostly because of standard all-wheel drive, safety scores, and the fact people actually go looking for used ones instead of settling for them. Zooming in, iCars' numbers on recent Foresters show about 39% depreciation after 5 years, which means it keeps around 60% of its value in that window. That beats the average SUV and even the overall vehicle market. Outback sits in that same slow and steady depreciation pattern on CarEdge and Subaru's own residual summaries, dropping less in the early years, then easing down as mileage stacks up. In plain talk, if you buy either one new and trade out around year 5, you are doing way better than somebody in a random domestic crossover that dumps half its MSRP by then. Forester usually has the slight edge on percentage retained because compact SUVs are hot on the used market, and the entry price is lower. Outback often loses a few more dollars in absolute terms since it starts higher, especially in the upper trims and turbos, but it is still strong compared to mid-size SUV rivals. Color and spec matter too. Studies on resale show loud, uncommon colors can actually hold value better than basic black or white, and clean spec sheets with all-wheel drive, safety tech, and no weird options are easier to move at trade time. So, if you care purely about resale percentage and you plan to swap cars every 4 to 6 years, Forester leans a little smarter. If you want the extra space and ride comfort of the Outback, you still land in a very safe zone for depreciation compared to most of the segment. Practicality. Cabin space is where these two start showing totally different personalities. The Forester has that tall greenhouse, big windows, and super open sight lines. Subaru's been known for visibility, and the Forester is basically the poster child for that. The headroom and legroom numbers back it up. Even taller folks end up with space to spare because the roofline doesn't slope, and the seating position sits more upright. Cargo volume with the seats up usually floats around 28 to 30 cubic feet, depending on trim, and the boxy shape makes it easy to load gear without fighting angles. That design is a big reason families and older buyers keep gravitating toward it. No cap, it is one of the easiest daily SUVs to use in tight parking lots or narrow driveways. The Outback leans more toward long-haul comfort. It stretches out more, rides smoother on the highway, and gives you a longer cargo floor that works better for strollers, camping equipment, or anything long and awkward. Ground clearance sits at 8.7 inches on most trims, which is more than a lot of mid-size crossovers, and the wilderness trims go even higher. The ride quality also comes through when you start hitting rough pavement. The longer wheelbase helps settle bumps and makes long trips feel easier. Cabin materials in recent Outbacks tend to step ahead of the Forester too, especially the upper trims with the larger center display and nicer trim pieces. Daily usability depends on what matters more. Anyone who wants light steering, easy parking, and top-tier visibility is going to feel at home in the Forester. The upright seating and simpler layout just feel natural for errands, city driving, and shorter hops. The Outback fits people who do longer commutes or road trips, or who haul bigger gear on weekends. The smoother ride and extra length pay off in those situations. Both work well as all-weather family rigs with standard AWD, but they cover different sides of the practicality spectrum. Which one is the smarter buy in 2026? Here is how I'd call it after stacking all the numbers. For long-term reliability and resale, Forester has the cleaner story. The naturally aspirated 2.5, simpler drivetrain, better fuel economy, and strong resale rankings all tilt in the same direction. You are spending less to feed it, less to keep rubber on it, and you are more likely to get a stronger percentage back when you trade or sell. For somebody who keeps cars 5 to 7 years and cares about total cost, Forester is the smarter default, no cap. That does not mean Outback is a bad play. You still get solid reliability data, strong Subaru resale, and a chassis that fits bigger families, taller drivers, and people who road trip. If you tow, haul long gear, or just want that smoother highway ride with extra cargo floor, paying a little more in fuel and tires can make sense. The key thing is expectations. Go Outback if you are going to use the extra size, and you are okay trading some efficiency and a bit of resale percentage for comfort and space. Go Forester if you want a dependable, all-weather daily that is cheaper to own, easy to park, and strong on value when it is time to let it go. So if you made me pick one for a viewer who said, "I just want the smarter money move," I am handing them Forester keys and Outback keys second, and I feel good about that call.